Things change very quickly, don't they? Mostly because when I think about the 2023-2024 Vancouver Canucks season, I will think mostly about this. The points race, and how unfortunately there aren't any Canucks in the top 3 of scoring anymore because these 3 guys decided to take over the National Hockey League. Kinda crazy how we have 2 120-point guys and we're probably gonna have a third in short order. I mean, the Oilers are playing right now, if I recall correctly, so McDavid may be at that right now, who really knows, but still in the top 10 is one JT Miller. And I think this is a really, really good opportunity for us to talk about the Vancouver Canucks because not only is the JT Miller story one that I think deserves more praise, but we have a few other extra things in regards to Vancouver hockey that makes this entire story of the season just a tad better. And it's to the point where I didn't think anybody really thought this was going to be possible, but hey, here we are. It just got better for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, last night, JT Miller scored the bomb of a power play goal to put the Canucks up 3-1 against the Calgary Flames, and shortly after, we had ourselves the arena chanting out JT Miller's name. There was a really great clip going around on Instagram of JT Miller's daughter in the arena, kind of like looking up in awe and wonder, kind of wondering, hey, like, all these people are chanting my dad's name. That's kind of cool. And it was a really great moment, very heartwarming stuff to see little Miller go out there and hear her father's chants in the crowd. But we also had ourselves JT Miller himself going out there and talking about the entire thing. My wife was telling me how special that was. She said she couldn't really believe what was going on. I never thought I'd be in a situation where that was possible. And that in itself is a heartwarming tale to hear about, especially when it comes to Miller being one of the biggest redemption stories for the Vancouver Canucks in the past year or so. From 2022-2023, where people were talking about trading him, attitude problems, this and that, work ethic, does he try, does he not care, is he a toxic locker room figure, etc., etc., country club vibes and the like. It was a really big travesty what happened in the Canucks locker room last year. So to see Miller be able to bounce back and put up what is now a 90-point season with, let's say, 10-ish remaining games to go, yeah, that's pretty great. JT Miller is on pace to hit 100 points this year, and, you know, knock on wood, nothing bad happens. Hopefully he'll hit it soon and join the likes of the McDavids, the Kucherovs, and the McKinnons in the triple digits column. But also, this is a great chance to go out there and talk about some of the most productive 3-year stretches in Vancouver Canucks history. Best Mo went out there and tweeted this out before the game against the Calgary Flames. Henrik Sedin had 288 points in a 3-year stretch. Marcus Naslund had a 278-point stretch, and Pavel Bure had a 277. Meanwhile, JT Miller, with, at the time, 13 games to play, had 270 points. So if you assume the point-per-game mark that he has is going to continue, he could realistically overtake Bure and Naslund on this individual stat. Now, of course, nobody really likes to look at 3-year stretches when they talk about the progression and talent of NHL players. It's a very niche stat that is pulled here for the tweet. But Thomas Drance does go out there and reply saying, hey, you have to adjust for era. Naslund's 3-year run, he was the most productive player in the league by 30-plus points. Henrik's put him in the company of prime Crosby, Ovechkin, and no one else. Miller's run puts him at the fringes of the top 10. And then there's a reply that says, you absolute pedantic thief of joy. But there is, you know, reason to go by this idea here because, hey, prime Henrik Sedin was an Art Ross caliber guy. He was right there with Ovechkin, Crosby, etc. Naslund was one of the best players in the NHL too. Bure was Pavel Bure, and JT Miller, unfortunately, while he is like top 10 in the NHL in points right now, he isn't in that top echelon of scorers like the McDavids, the Kucherovs, and the McKinnons, in the same way that Henrik Sedin was with Ovechkin and Crosby, and oddly enough, Nick Backstrom too, in that 2010 era. Either way, though, still pretty impressive. Miller does have a chance to overtake these other guys, and when it comes to the Canucks and their good stories, it doesn't just stop there, because we had ourselves earlier today Dakota Joshua returning to practice in a non-contact jersey. Now, we all recognize that what took Joshua out of the lineup in the first place was his hand when he injured that in the fight with Mackenzie Entwistle during the night of his Gordie Howe hat trick, so the fact that it's taken this long for Dakota Joshua to come back, and he's only in a non-contact jersey, it just means that there's been a lot of extra time and development put into his overall recovery. And for me personally, I'm pretty good with that. I'd like to see Dakota Joshua, of course, return as soon as possible, but only in the appropriate circumstance of him actually being fully healthy. It wouldn't really be ideal if Dakota Joshua returned early and got activated again and he made things worse before the playoffs began and everything. So for Dakota Joshua, even if it is only in a non-contact jersey capacity, this is still a very good sight to see. And it begs the question as to what the hell's going to happen with this team when he does come back. Because Connor Garland has been so good with Elias Pettersson and Nils Höglander, so would you really want to break that up once Dakota Joshua returns? Do you go back with the immediate third line, okay, Joshua, Bluger, and Garland, and then you put, I don't know, Podkolzin or something with Pettersson and Höglander? Petey and Hoggy have been good together, but Connor Garland has been such a bow on top on that line that it's going to be interesting to see where the Canucks go with that roster setup once Joshua does return. But there is one more thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to the Vancouver Canucks, and it happens to have been posted on the R Hockey subreddit. Take a look at this post made by Data Driven Hockey, the most disappointing NHL teams this season. You could see that the New Jersey Devils are the first most disappointing team. They have a -18 ranking. Now, what exactly does this mean? I'm just going to refer to the bottom here. NHL teams ranked by actual standing position minus their expected standings position. The expectation is the average of 11 preseason models and expert predictions. So what Data Driven Hockey did was they took a look at 11 different NHL standings predictions, grabbed the average ranking, and ranked the current standings against that average ranking of predictions and saying, hey, this is the list of teams that are very much disappointing in comparison to where we thought they would be. A lot of people thought the Devils would have been a little bit higher. Same with the Senators, same with the Pens and the Flames and the Oilers. But if you go over to the least disappointing teams, the Philadelphia Flyers and Vancouver Canucks are right there. The Canucks are the least disappointing team in the NHL. What's the opposite of disappointing? Surprising? The most surprising team? Yeah, okay. Is that really the right word? I'm gonna go out there and try to look that up. Disappointing. Yeah. How do you spell that with one hand? Where's the antonyms for that? Here. Antonyms. Agreeable, encouraging, pleasant, pleasing. Pleasant, I guess. That's not really a great way to say it, but the Canucks are the best team in terms of where they are in the standings versus where everybody thought they would be. They've upped 17 spots in terms of the NHL projected list. So good to see the Vancouver Canucks outperforming their expected results by quite a significant margin. And if you wanted to take a look at this, I mean, we could make another video about this if you wanted, but I don't know. I think roughly the teams that I care about are mostly in the spots that we thought they would be. Montreal's slightly better. Detroit is a tad better too. But Vancouver with a +17, yeah, they blew everybody out of the water. And I don't think that's all too surprising considering the fact that they're literally first in the NHL right now. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about JT Miller, his 90-point campaign, the fact that he is in this tier of being able to outproduce guys like Naslund and Bure in a 3-year stretch. What are your thoughts on Dakota Joshua making his grand return to the Vancouver Canucks lineup, and what are your thoughts on the Canucks being the most pleasant team in the NHL in regards to where they were at the beginning of the year? They are the least disappointing, and that sounds pretty tame, but it sounds a lot better when you look at the actual list here. So thoughts about the Vancouver Canucks in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.